Good morning to all and welcome to the session, the Hindu Editorial Analysis for Proficiency in English. Today's editorial is about a controversial issue. It is raking up a controversial issue related to an island that belongs to Sri Lanka, whether it belongs to India or Sri Lanka. That is a controversy. Let us start the session with the question, what is this editorial about? This editorial discusses the political controversy surrounding the issue of Kachativu, an island located between India and Sri Lanka, and how it has been used for political gains by various parties, particularly the BJP and the Congress. There is one particular island that has become controversial, and whenever something is controversial or a cause of dispute, we use two idioms, one bone of contention, the other apple of discord. What is the bone of contention here? A particular island, the editorial uses the word island, also uses the word islet. Islet means a small island, and this, whether it belongs to India or Sri Lanka. What is this controversial island? Kachativu. And this is being used for political gains. That is all about the editorial. Let us see the tone of the editorial. The tone of the editorial is a critical and cautionary. As usual, critical, criticizing, and cautionary. There is one important word, cautious. Not cautious, cautious. Cautious means careful. Be cautious means what? Be careful. Let us see how it starts, how it goes about. No man's land. When we say no man's land, it means does not belong to anyone. Playing politics over Kachativu. It's all about this particular island or islet. What is the main idea of this editorial? Those in power should not rake up issues that affect ties with neighbors. Those in power, in this context, those in power means the current regime at the center, should not. We have got this helping verb many a time. The helping verb should has two functions. One, it is used to advise or suggest. In this context, that is a function. Second, it is used to express a possibility, but the chances are less. Should not do what? Rake up issues. There's one phrasal verb, rake up. Rake up is a phrasal verb. Revive the memory of an incident or period that is best forgotten. Already something happened in the past, and it is better to forget. People forgot. You bring it back. You retrieve that controversial issue. Then we use a phrasal verb, rake up. Should not rake up issues that affect ties with neighbors. There is a particular issue already forgotten. If you rake up that issue, there is a possibility, potential for that issue to affect the ties between two countries, neighbors. In this context, India and Sri Lanka. The main idea of the editorial, we should not rake up issues, controversial issues, because if at all we rake up controversial issues, then it may affect our ties with the neighbors, which is not advisable. Let us see how it starts. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, by raking up the contentious matter of Kachativu, has set, present perfect tense, has set what? An unhealthy trend of politicizing an issue for electoral gains, and one that has bearing on ties with Sri Lanka. There are two dimensions over here. The editorial opines, takes a stand and says, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, by raking up the contentious matter of Kachativu, what has he done? He has raked up the contentious, controversial issue of Kachativu. By doing this, he has set something, has set an unhealthy trend. Not trend means what? Something that is going on, a particular trend, current trend. But here, unhealthy trend of politicizing an issue for electoral gains. Generally, politicians, political parties, what they try to do before elections, they take a particular controversial issue, they try to politicize that so that the party gets benefited for political gains. To that extent, everyone does. All the political parties usually resort to something like that. But as long as it is within the country, not a big deal. But here, raking up a controversial issue that may affect the ties between two countries, that is, the editorial opines, not a good thing, has set an unhealthy trend of politicizing an issue for electoral gains, and one that has impact on ties with Sri Lanka. That is a problem here. Whatever we do here, as long as within the country, at the time of elections, you make a particular issue controversial, not a big deal, not an issue. But if that particular controversial issue has an impact, makes an impact on the ties with our neighboring countries, in this context, Sri Lanka, then the stakes are very high, everything matters. Mr. Modi on March 31st on X stated that new facts reveal how Congress carelessly gave away Kachativu. Here, it talks about what the Prime Minister stated on a particular day. It was March 31st. What is the platform on X platform stated that new facts reveal. We have got this word many a time. Reveal means what? Disclose, divulge, reveal, make public, unveil. They all mean the same. Make something public. Reveal how Congress carelessly gave away Kachativu. There is two words over here. One is, I'm sorry, Veera, please excuse me. Veera, are you there? Sorry for the interruption. Am I audible? Please respond. Those who are there, am I audible? Here we have two words. One is contentious, causing or likely to cause an argument, controversial. Remember the word controversial. The other word, callous. Callous part of speech, adjective. Contentious also adjective. Unkind, cruel, and without sympathy. I usually say without sympathy or feeling for other people. Imagine someone is suffering, we just ignore, we don't try to do something about that person's suffering. Then the word callous is used. In this context, The Prime Minister says new facts reveal, new facts disclose or make public how Congress carelessly gave away Kachativu. Here, carelessly has been used as an adverb. Careless person, adjective. He has done it carelessly, means adverb. It is an accusation by the Prime Minister Modi on the platform of X. Even though the state BJP, like other parties in Tamil Nadu, has been talking about the island's retrieval, the situation gets complicated when its national leadership too lends its voice. An important sentence because there's something you have to recollect. Even though the state BJP, like other parties, this is an important word. Why is it an important word? When we combine or join two subjects using expressions like with, along with, together with, as well as, like, unlike, including, besides, in addition to, no less than, rather than, any of these, the verb agrees with the first subject. Here we have the word like. What is the first subject here? State BJP. Other parties. You should not consider other parties second subject in Tamil Nadu. The state BJP singular based on that singular verb has been. Same sentence or this part can be given in the exam under error location. They may use a plural verb, but we have to use a singular verb because of like. Even though the state BJP, like other parties in Tamil Nadu, has been talking about, answer my question, those who are there, has been talking about, which tense is that? I have been teaching, you have been listening, they have been writing. The BJP, state BJP has been talking. It is present perfect continuous tense. Then you may ask, sir, what is the meaning of the word present? What is the function of present perfect continuous? To show you graphically, imagine a particular event begins in the past, comes to the present, may go into future. Then we use present perfect continuous. Imagine I started the session at 10 and 10:30 I'm teaching. Now what time did I start? 9. What time is it now? 15, 9:15, and I will teach till 10. Then I can say I have been teaching since 9 a.m. or I have been teaching for the last 15 minutes. The BJP has been talking about the island's retrieval. Someone has responded. Who is that? Very good. Hemant, I appreciate that. Retrieve, part of speech verb. The process of getting something back from somewhere. That's an important word because retrieve, when I talk to students, I tell them while preparing for competitive exams, good, I appreciate Hemant. While preparing for competitive exams, you have to learn a lot. You have to remember a lot. And you have to use mnemonics. Mnemonics means the memory techniques. One of the techniques, you have to organize the information. When you organize the information, it will be easy to learn, remember, and retrieve. While preparing for competitive exams, there are two things you have to remember. One, you don't have to be the best. You should be better than others. First thing. Second thing, what you know is not important. How fast you can retrieve or recollect is important. What you know, a lot of people may know, but how fast you can answer, how fast you can retrieve, how fast you can recall, that is very important. You have to think from that angle, the process of retrieving information. There is another word, regime, we have got many a time. Regime, part of speech, noun. A government, especially an authoritative one, need not be. Current government, we use the word regime. The sentence says, the state BJP party may talk like other Tamil Nadu political parties, but when the Prime Minister joins, the situation gets complicated. When does the situation get complicated? The situation gets complicated when it's national leadership. Here, national leadership means the Prime Minister too lends its voice. Leadership representing the Prime Minister, a party head, too lends its voice. Lend your voice means to support something. When the Prime Minister or the party leadership also lends a voice, supports that particular stand, then it gets complicated. As with the Congress led UPA government, the BJP led NDA regime, here regime means what? Current government. NDA regime too has seen the islet as part of Sri Lanka. As a part of Sri Lanka. There's one word here, islet. You all know the meaning of the word island. Island, big enough. But if you take a small island, what is the word we use? We use islet. In this context, you have to recollect two words. One, book. The other one, booklet. Imagine there is a book, usually a book 100 pages plus, but there is a book 10 pages, only 10 pages. What is the word you are supposed to use for that? It is a booklet, a very useful booklet. Booklet, book, booklet, island, islet. This talks about, as with the Congress led UPA government, the BJP led NDA regime too has seen the islet as part of Sri Lanka, as a part of Sri Lanka, not as a part of India. Now it provides a background information. In 2022, the External Affairs Ministry is informed the Rajya Sabha that Kachativu lies on the Sri Lankan side of the India-Sri Lanka international maritime boundary line. Something happened in 2022. What happened? The External Affairs Ministry informed the Rajya Sabha. Informed what? That Kachativu, this particular islet, lies, an important word you have to recollect, lie, lay, lane, lay, laid. Here lies means to be in a particular state for a long time. On the Sri Lankan side of the India-Sri Lanka International Maritime Boundary Line, IMBL. When it comes to International Maritime Boundary Line, imagine India is here, Sri Lanka is this side. This particular island is here. That means what? It is on the Sri Lankan side. That's what the sentence says. Yes, Hemant. A small island, we say islet. Inform the Rajya Sabha that Kachativu lies on the Sri Lankan side of the India-Sri Lanka International Maritime Boundary Line. Again, background information. In 2013, the UPA regime told the Supreme Court, here MEA, Ministry of External Affairs, told the Rajya Sabha, this sentence about, that was in 2022, this one 2013, the UPA regime told the Supreme Court that the question of retrieval, the question of something, the question of giving the consent, the question of announcing something, the question of doing something, this is a standard expression, did not arise. This is also an important expression. The question did not arise means it was ruled out. The question of retrieval, getting back the island, did not arise. Why? As no territory belonging to India was ceded to Sri Lanka. Imagine a particular part of a particular island belonged to India and then it went to Sri Lanka. Then we can use the term ceded. Cede means what? Give up power or territory. But to the Supreme Court, the UPA regime told the Supreme Court, no part of India was ceded to Sri Lanka. Means what? No part of India was given to Sri Lanka. Good, Divya Rathod. It contended that. Contended has two different meanings. One meaning to compete. But in this context, contended means to state your stand in a firm manner. Assert something as a position in an argument. Part of speech, adjective. Contend is a verb. Contended, past participle used as an adjective. Cede, give up, surrender. Very good. Hemant Sai, I appreciate your contribution. It contended that the islet was a matter of dispute between British India and Ceylon and that there was no agreed boundary. Initially, there was no agreed boundary and it was a matter not between India and Sri Lanka. It was a matter between British India and Ceylon. A matter settled. Later it was settled. A matter settled through the 1974 and 1976 agreements leading to the IMBL. Initially, there was no agreed boundary, but subsequent to 74-76 agreements, the matter was settled, and that resulted in IMBL, International Maritime Boundary Line. And if you take that line between India and Sri Lanka, this particular island is on the Sri Lankan side, not on the Indian side. A little after Mr. Modi became Prime Minister, an MEA affidavit means a written statement in the court of law. An MEA, Ministry of External Affairs affidavit in the Madras High Court stated that sovereignty over Kachativu is a settled matter. Soon after, a little after, in the sense soon after, Mr. Modi became Prime Minister, an MEA affidavit in the Madras High Court stated that sovereignty. Today, if you take Indian Constitution, starting preamble, it goes this way: India is a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. Sovereign means what? Not ruled by anyone. India is politically independent state. Then we use the word sovereign, and it stated that sovereignty means control over Kachativu is a settled matter. Settled matter means what? Already we got the solution. It does not belong to India, it belongs to Sri Lanka. Because it's a settled matter, the editorial starts with should not rake up. Rake up means what? Forgotten issues, forgotten controversial issues, bringing them back. But coming to the present, but the present government has also been telling, same also been telling means what? Same stand, has also been telling present perfect continuous Parliament that the matter relating to the islet is sub judice as it was before the Supreme Court. This is one thing, this is another thing. Contrasting word but. Here the UPA regime, I think, which one? It talks about, it contended, you have to go back further. In 2013, the UPA regime, yes, the UPA regime said settled matter, and also a little after Mr. Modi became Prime Minister, MEA affidavit also stated the same, a settled matter. But the present government has also been telling Parliament the matter relating to the islet is sub judice as it was before the Supreme Court. There is one important word, sub judice. Contained Hemant Sai again contributed, take on, withstand, cope with, agree, good, appreciate. Under judicial consideration and therefore probably prohibited to discuss in public. But generally, sub judice important because people write as one word, but two separate words. Sub judice means what? To be in the court of law and prohibited to discuss in public. The crux of the row. There are two words over here. Crux means the most important part of something, part of speech noun, the decisive or most important point at issue. Imagine to get separated, to give away, to renounce, concede. Concede means initially you refuse, later you accept. Where is the word concede? Ceded is different, concede is different. Perhaps based on that you are asking. Concede means initially you don't accept, you resist, but after some time you accept. You surrender, you give in, you yield. Then we say conceded the defeat. The team conceded the defeat means what? Initially they did not want to, later they accepted. Crux means the important part of an issue, and row has two or three meanings. In this context, an argument, a noisy argument or fight. What is this row? What are the other meanings? One meaning to form a line, a row. Another meaning to move the boat, rowing. But in this context, argument. The crux of the row. When it comes to row here means a problem. What is the exact problem? The crux of the row now is whether the Congress under Jawaharlal Nehru or Indira Gandhi had carelessly handled the matter. Had handled, that is past perfect. When two actions happened in the past, one after the other, first one we use past perfect, second action we use past tense. What is the problem? What is the crux of the problem? Whether the Congress had handled callously. That is the issue here. Documents from an RTI query by BJP State President K. Annamalai revealed that the Indian leadership before the agreements of 1974 and 1976, there were agreements 1974-76. Indian leadership before that, before these agreements, had recognized that it did not have a strong case over the territory. Indian leadership realized that it did not have a strong case means it did not have a valid reason to claim the territory, even though the area was part of the Zamindari of Raja of Ramanathapuram since 1803. It belonged to a particular Raja. Though it belonged to a particular Raja of Ramanathapuram, Indian leadership did not have a valid reason, and because of that they could not claim the territory. A report in the Hindu, March 1972 says the annual church festival began over 90 years ago. Here people say 90 years back. You should not use the word back, you have to say ago. 90 years ago. But what must have troubled, you have to listen very carefully, this particular part, must have troubled. There are two sentence patterns. One, might, between the two we prefer might, plus have, plus verb, past participle form. One pattern. Another pattern, must, plus have, plus verb, past participle form. Might have, must have, plus verb. What do they mean? Imagine there was an incident yesterday. There was a party, many people came. I lost my gold chain. Because many people came, I cannot be damn sure who stole the chain. At the most, I can make a guess. What is the function of might have, that pattern? It is used to express a past possibility which is a guess. Imagine I suspect the servant. Then I will say, the servant might have stolen the chain. Another situation, yesterday there was a party, only the servant came, I lost my gold chain. Then I don't have to guess. I can make a deduction about the past. Deduction means come to conclusion based on the facts. In that situation, I will say the servant must have stolen the chain. Here, deduction about the past. What must have troubled the Indian authorities going by the minutes of a meeting in Chennai in 1974 between Foreign Secretary Keval Singh and Chief Minister M. Karunanidhi were historical facts aiding Sri Lanka. What does it mean? Something went in favor of Sri Lanka, and that troubled Indian leadership. What must have troubled Indian leadership, and when did they come to know? They were going by the minutes. How did they come to know? Going by the minutes of a meeting, a particular meeting between in Chennai in 1974 between Foreign Secretary Keval Singh and then Chief Minister Karunanidhi. When they went through the minutes of the meeting, they came to know that historical facts aiding Sri Lanka, aiding means helping Sri Lanka, that must have troubled Indian leadership. These include, some facts were in favor of Sri Lanka. These include the reference by an Indian survey team. An Indian survey team in 1874-76 to Kachativu being a part of Sri Lanka. An Indian team also referred Kachativu as a part of Sri Lanka. These include the reference by an Indian survey team in 1874-76 to Kachativu being a part of Sri Lanka. Besides that, Sri Lanka's assertion of sovereignty since 1921, when talks began to demarcate the fishery line in the Park Bay, and the inability of the Madras Presidency to establish the islet's original title. These also substantiate that they come in aid of the facts being in favor of Sri Lanka. Besides, in addition to. You have to recollect two prepositions. Beside, besides. Beside means next to. There is no one beside me. There is no one next to me. Besides means in addition to. Besides, Sri Lanka had been exercising jurisdiction, control, legal control over the territory since the mid 1920s without protest by India. Sri Lanka has the control. Sri Lanka has been exercising the jurisdiction since 1920s and India did not object. The very fact that India did not object means that the territory belongs to Sri Lanka. Nehru's observation on giving up our claim or constitutional expert MC Setawal's favorable opinion is thus cited means quoted, by critics of the Congress and the DMK, but the RTI documents. Some people, the critics of Congress and the Congress and the DMK, they cited these and they tried to criticize the Congress party. On the other hand, but the RTI documents show that the decision had sound basis. Sound basis means they had a valid reason. Sound basis means you take a decision and there should be some reason. The reason based on sound basis you took the decision means your decision can be justified. That's what it says. Though they criticized, they had a sound basis. That means the reasons can be justified. It is understandable if political leaders in Tamil Nadu raise a demand of Kachativu's retrieval every now and then. Imagine, because it is off the coast of Tamil Nadu political party leaders, if they raise this issue, controversial issue, if they rake up this issue at the time of elections to get political gains, it is understandable. But it would be extremely disturbing. It would be extremely disturbing if the Prime Minister too joins the bandwagon. Local leaders, they talk, it doesn't matter much. But the Prime Minister also joins the bandwagon. An important idiom means to join a popular activity. Then it makes a negative impact based on that, extremely disturbing. It ends on that particular note. That's all about this editorial, a controversial issue, and some words are there to learn. Today I have brought the timer, daily practice questions based on grammar, reading comprehension skill and vocabulary. Let us start with questions based on this editorial to improve your reading comprehension skill. Read the first one and answer. What is the primary concern raised in the editorial regarding Prime Minister Narendra Modi's actions regarding the Kachativu issue? I will not use a timer for this. Other questions I will use a timer. Cited, referred to, allude to. Allude means indirect reference. Hemant, I appreciate. Very good. Some students have started contributing. Have a look at the comment box. Who are those? Swati also has written, and Hemant has been doing. Now it is time for you guys to respond. What is the primary concern raised in the editorial regarding Prime Minister Narendra Modi's actions in relation to regarding the Kachativu issue? Modi's failure to address the historical background. Already Durga has answered, Murali has answered, Shravani has answered. Modi's politicization of the issue for electoral gains. That is the primary concern. The answer is B. Good, I appreciate that. According to the editorial, what historical agreements recognized Kachativu as part of Sri Lanka? Two agreements have recognized Kachativu as part of Sri Lanka. What are those two agreements? Yes, Hemant. The Prime Minister's politicization of a particular issue to gain for political gains. Agreements of 50 and 52? No. 74, 76, 80, 82, 90, 92. What is the answer here? 74, 76. Clearly mentioned in the passage. Explicit information. What is the main concern raised about the involvement of the Prime Minister in the Kachativu issue? Lack of historical documentation, potential strain on India's relationship with Sri Lanka. Read carefully. Yes, Sachinarayana, GVV Sachinarayana says 74, 76, perfect. Hemant also, good. When you answer, I appreciate your response. When you answer, please mention the question number. Second one, answer B. Now go to the third one. 1974 Simon Commission. Who is this? Swati says. Okay, good. I appreciate that. Answer question number 3. What is the main concern raised about the involvement of the Prime Minister in the Kachativu issue? Potential strain on India's relationship with Sri Lanka. There are two dimensions. Politicians, political parties making issues controversial for political gains, it's a natural thing at the time of elections. But in this context, when someone does it, if it makes an impact on ties with our neighbors, that is something very disturbing. Based on that potential strain on India's relationship with Sri Lanka. Answer is B. What do critics of the Congress and the DMK often cite regarding the Kachativu issue? Critics of the Congress and the DMK, what do they quote? What do they say regarding the Kachativu issue? On what basis they criticize the Congress and the DMK? Strong historical evidence, lack of interest, clearly mentioned. Okay. What is the third option here? Nehru's observation on giving up our claim and MC Setawal's opinion, clearly mentioned in the passage. No, no. Question number 4. What do critics of the Congress and the DMK? There is one particular sentence. No, 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 no. Answer is not. It talks about the critics of those two parties. They said clearly in the editorial mention, they criticized Nehru's observation on giving up our claim and MC Setawal's opinion. And editorial also says, though they criticize the Congress and the DMK on the basis of these two factors, the decision had sound basis. Remember, in the same sentence we got, even though they criticized, the decision had sound basis. Answer is C. No problem. Question number 5. What is the editorial stance regarding the demands for Kachativu's retrieval? What is the editorial stance? Stand taken by the editorial. It supports immediate military action. It suggests diplomatic negotiations. It encourages the continuation of political pressure. It urges caution against exploiting the issue for short-term political gains. For what? Short-term political gains. Excuse me. Please answer the last question. Mira, అది మూవ్ చేయాలా మీరు ఇక్కడికి మూవ్ చేయాలి అవటం లేదు. థ్యాంక్ యూ. ఇక్కడ ఇక్కడ పెట్టాలి. సరే, no problem. Have you answered the last one? What is the answer here? It urges caution against the issue of short-term political gains. Answer is D. Let us go to the next question related to Parajumble based on your comprehension skill. I'll set the timer. I'll start the timer. Let's see how much time you take. Forget the timer. We have 5 parts: A, B, C, D, E. Try to get the correct order. When you work on a parajumble, first you try to get the topic sentence with the main idea and the first sentence. To get the first sentence, you have to take elimination approach. Here there is no subject. Based on that, B cannot be the first one. While the phenomenon changes, the phenomenon, definite article, cannot be the first one, though exceptions are there. Any water crisis must be seen against this backdrop. Demonstrative adjective cannot be the first one, eliminate. It has to be either, which in turn cannot be the first one. So what is the first one here? Not at all difficult, easy to answer. What is the first one? Climate change will impose a deadlier cost on low and middle income countries such as India by creating simultaneous crisis. Same time, 2, 3 problems. Crisis singular, crisis plural. So what is the first one here? A is the first one. Very good. Mahi has answered and some more students. Go to the second one. Once you get A, after that, if you get the second one, easy to get the remaining 2. Who says C? C is the second one. Very good. While the phenomenon, it talks about climate change will impose a deadlier cost on low and middle income countries such as India by creating simultaneous crisis. While the phenomenon changes, here the definite article there. Based on that, while the phenomenon changes the way weather events co-evolve, it affects the frequency of the occurrence such that what? 2 events may develop a greater chance of transpiring together than they did before, such as a drought and a disease outbreak, and these two, which in turn will worsen socio-economic conditions among marginalized groups. That means what? C, B, and E, one group. C, B, E, one group. Continuity is there. What is the last one here? Any water crisis must be seen against this backdrop. This is a backdrop we must see against this backdrop or background, where it is both a crisis in itself and a factor that compounds the effects of another. This is from yesterday's editorial, familiar context, and those who have got this order, wonderful, I appreciate. What is the last one here? D is the last one. A, independent first sentence, C, B, E, one group, and D, the concluding one, you can say. Let us go to error location. Read sentence number 1, error location. Global leadership of the kind that India aspires to requires broad shoulders and a thick skin when it comes to criticism, along with a quiet confidence that its democratic record should speak for itself. A lengthy sentence looks like a paragraph, unfamiliar context, you have to read very carefully. This is not from yesterday's editorial. See what I'm going to do. Yesterday I brought all the questions from the editorial I did. But from now on I may bring from editorial page, not the same editorial, another editorial, main editorial. They are more challenging. Try to get, no one has responded. Global leadership. This is a subject. Of the kind that India aspires to, nothing wrong. Requires, global leadership requires broad shoulders and a thick skin, nothing wrong. When it comes to a standard expression, nothing wrong. When it comes to what? Criticism. Along with a quiet confidence, you got to be careful. Who says there's an error in the fourth part? Very good. When you say there's an error in the fourth part, you should also mention what exactly the problem is, what is wrong, and what is the correct expression. Here, this is a problem. There are two words. One is quite. Quite means what? Very. Quite big means very big. What is the other one? Quiet. Quiet means what? Calm. In this context, we should not use the word quite confidence. Very confidence does not make any sense whatsoever. We have to say quiet confidence, calm confidence. What is the right word here? QUI, this one, QUIET. Quiet confidence. I appreciate a few students have got fourth part. Very good. But you should mention what exactly the problem is. Go to sentence number 2. The window for India to leverage its sizable cohort of youth for wider socio-economic gains are fast closing, with the share of young people forecast to decline to 23% by 2036 from 27% in 2021. No, very confidence does not make any sense. Not the right combination. Swati. Confidence can be loud, confidence can be calm. Calm confidence. Nothing wrong with that combination. Try to spot the error. Sentence number 2. This is a bit challenging on its own, but because you got yesterday, this is one sentence from yesterday's editorial, a familiar context, it should be easy for you to spot the error. What is the subject here? The window for India to leverage its sizable cohort of youth for wider socio-economic gains. The window means the opportunity. Window is singular or plural? Opportunity singular or plural? Singular. Based on that, here we cannot say the window are fast closing. The window is. There is an error in the third part. Look, only Sai, I think a few students have got it right. No. The problem here, this question is based on subject-verb agreement. What is the subject here? The window. Here the window means opportunity. The opportunity is closing or the opportunity are closing. What will you say? The window is closing or the window are closing? Window singular, obviously we have to use a singular verb. Is fast closing. Question number 3. The Prime Minister is immensely unpopular and his coalition partners are at war with each other. This is a bit challenging because you don't have the contextual clue, but sheer common sense, you should guess. If you get this right, wonderful, highly appreciable. Tell me where is the error. The Prime Minister is immensely unpopular and his coalition partners are at war. At war, an important phrase you have to remember. At war with someone, at war with something, at war with each other. No one has responded. Here, coalition partners, more than two. Then do you use, I am giving the clue. Imagine the coalition partners, more than two. Will you use the reciprocal pronoun each other or the reciprocal pronoun one another? You have to use one another. Where is the error? Fourth part. Here, each other is not correct. We have to say one another. What are the reciprocal pronouns? Two reciprocal pronouns, each other, one another. What is the difference? We use each other when we talk about two persons or two things. More than two, we have to use one another. Based on that, nothing wrong with the Prime Minister is immensely unpopular and his coalition partners are. Nothing wrong. At war with one another. That is not easy. Let us go to, based on the words we got yesterday, pillars to provide contextual awareness to you people. Read the sentence, understand the context, don't use your grammar knowledge, raise your standards. Based on the context, contextual awareness, choose the appropriate word. Any other? What is that? Any other? Where is this any other? In this context, you cannot use any other. Who is this? Good morning at this stage. About to wind up the session. No problem, better late than never. Please answer. No one has responded now. Here I see adverse. Read the sentence carefully, understand the, not easy this one. You have to read meticulously, understand the context. The weather patterns, what sort of weather patterns have made farming unpredictable this year? First, you take elimination approach. The compound weather patterns you cannot use. The impending weather patterns you cannot use. You have to choose between B and D. The adverse weather patterns. Adverse means what? Negative. Negative patterns make a negative impact, not unpredictable. You cannot use adverse. What is the answer here? Erratic weather patterns. Unpredictable weather patterns make farming unpredictable. Obviously, you have to use the word erratic. I appreciate those who have chosen the fourth option. Some students go for adverse, not the right word. The consequences of the decision were unforeseen by the management. Again, I would like to reiterate, don't use your grammar knowledge, read the sentence, understand the context. Based on the contextual awareness, try to choose the appropriate word. That way you are raising your standards. We should always raise our standards. The consequences of the decision. The clue for you, consequences. What sort of consequences? Were unforeseen by the management, not expected by the management. Compound, adverse, impending, render. Sandeep says to B, adverse consequences. Adverse means, Swati, negative. Erratic means unpredictable. Both are entirely different. Someone's behavior, I'm telling you, Swati, listen. Someone's behavior you cannot predict. Then we say unpredictable, simple word. Erratic behavior, same meaning. Adverse report, unfavorable report. Adverse report, negative report. Both are entirely different. What is the answer for the second one? The adverse consequences, the negative consequences of the decision were not expected by the management. Very good. I appreciate those who have chosen the second option. Adverse is the right word. There is a sense of doom among the staff as the layoffs draw near. Doom, doomsday, something negative, end of the world. That is a clue for you. There is a sense of doom among the staff as the layoffs draw near. Layoffs are going to come very close. Based on that, what is the right word here? There is a sense of compound, adverse, impending, erratic. This is also a bit challenging, though a familiar word you got yesterday. Answer, very good. Who is this? Vijaya Sagar. Answer is a C. Impending doom means what? Likely to happen. Exactly. Very good. Many students have got it right. I appreciate. These are the words we got yesterday. First, you have to write the part of speech. Then you have to write the meaning, the key word. Exact meaning you don't have to write. We don't have so much time also. We are running out of time. It's already 9:57. Quickly, part of speech keyword, encroachment. What does it mean? Part of speech, easy. Encroachment, encroach verb. Encroachment, noun. Means what? Please mention the word number and the part of speech and the meaning. Transpire, drought, marginalized, precarious. or take a pick and try to think of the answers because we are running out of time. I'll wait for a minute. If you respond immediately, I will be here for 1 minute. I appreciate. If you don't respond, I have to stop here because I have a session. Impending doom. Very good, Hemant Sai. Already that's over. Please answer. Encroach means what? To occupy someone's territory or to occupy someone's rights, privileges. Part of speech, very good. Swati, noun. What is it? Noun. Means what? Intrude, take control, you can say. Intrusion on a person's territory or rights. Transpire, what is a part of speech? Transpire. Transpire, verb. It has many meanings. One goes with plants, transpiration. But in the context of the editorial, what does it mean? Go on. Go on. Very good. Who is this? Durga. I appreciate that. Happen. Go on. Next one, drought. Drought, part of speech, noun. Long dry spell. For a long time, no rains. What do you say? Dry spell or drought? Become known. Okay. Marginalized people, communities. That means what? Adjective. This is an important word. Essay writing, you have to use these power words. Marginalized people, marginalized communities. Dry spell, very good. Marginalized means what? Isolated or being at the lowest rung of the society. Downtrodden, underprivileged, marginalized, backward communities. All the four words are very important. The last one, precarious situation, part of speech, adjective. Means what? It means dangerous, precarious situation. No, part of speech, adjective. Look at the combination I have just said. Precarious situation, precarious condition, precarious circumstances. Means what? Circumstances, situation, noun. Before that, adjective. Here it is an adjective. That's all for today. Thanks for being with me till the fag end of the session. I hope you guys have got enriched. Have a nice day. And I will see you guys tomorrow with more exercises, challenging questions. Thank you very much.